Hey there, welcome to Pickled Parables. This podcast is presented by Parable Ministries as a Bible teaching resource. Thank you for joining us. Pickled Parables is a podcast about taking in and living out the Bible. Here we will study, contemplate, and testify to the Bible's incredible teachings and how it leads us to live better lives. To stay up to date with all things Parable, follow us on Instagram at parable_ministries and visit our website at parableministries.com. We hope today's message finds you well.
Well, welcome back to Pickled Parables. I'm your host, Hunter Hoover, and I'm here to have Aaron Baddeley on for another one of our Parable portraits. Aaron, how are you?
I'm doing great.
He's doing great. Good. And so this is a format that we kind of wanted to, especially with a lot of those who have taught with Parable, to kind of get to know who they are, as well as their story, and also, just noting the value of sharing testimony and what it does for encouraging others and testifying to the work of God in our lives. And so, Aaron, I'm going to kind of open it up to you. Who are you? Where are you from? Where do you come from? Whatever details you want to give us, family, tell us who you are.
Yeah, well, dude, good to be here. Good to hear your beautiful voice again. Reunited across so many hours, and golly, dude, it's been a while since we've talked, so this is good.
Yeah,
man, I'm Aaron Baddeley. I live in Spokane, Washington. Been there 7 or 8 years now. Is that right?
Wow, that's crazy.
No, yeah, like eight.
That's crazy.
And yeah, former Corban University grad. Hence the
Go Warriors.
Yeah, go Warriors. Let's go. Dude, we got a new president. What's his name again?
I
should
can't
know
remember.
This.
I do remember seeing that though.
He's a Midwestern guy. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I'll do the John Mark Yeats.
Yes. Yeats. That's right.
There's gotta be a student at Corban that is on that joke daily.
That's good for branding, I think.
Yeah.
But sorry. I've been in Spokane 8 years now. Let's see. I'm a pastor of a brand new church here in Spokane, Princeton Avenue Church. We started late October. We are a kind of a church plant or church endeavor from Indian Trail Church. And there's the best problem in the world. It's not a church split. I'm not here to promote disunity, right? So this is legit. And they had the best problem in the world where they're like, dude, there's too many people here. We can't fit in our building. And you can have two options. You're like, we can get more building, or we can plant a church, right? It's kind of the short version of that.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
Before because that'll dovetail me into some of my ministry journey. I'll hold that for a second.
Yeah.
Married. I've been married 2016. It'll be 9 years. 9 years this June. This is good. This is a good test.
It's coming up quick.
Dude, that night I didn't forget Mother's Day either, so that's important. At the time of this recording, that's tomorrow.
At the time of this recording is tomorrow. Listener, if you're hearing this and hoping that you'll get the reminder, you've already missed Mother's Day.
They blew it. Yeah. They blew it. That's on me. I got 2 little girls, a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old.
Wow.
And a good pastor friend of mine, before we had kids, he told me, Baddeley, you need a girl. And he was right. He was right. Girls change it. Because how many kids you got now?
I got 2. 2, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I got a boy and a girl.
Oh, nice. You got the whole set.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You guys hoping for more? You guys chilling? You guys having a good time?
We're chilling. Yep. We're chilling in the biggest way possible. Yeah.
Say no more, friend. Say no more.
But yeah, dude, no, but there is something different about daughters. Yeah, for sure.
So that's been a hoot. Being a dad's been really sweet. And I should also say this. I am also a part-time chaplain for a hospice service in Spokane. That's actually been a huge blessing.
Yeah.
And not a route I ever thought for myself. And yet here we are. and it's shaped me immensely in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
But,
Wow. So, there's all sorts of jumping off points there. I think the best way to dive in, and I think we'll get to all of these, is your just kind of talk about your religious upbringing, and I think what paved the way. Did you grow up in church? I know a little bit of this just from, but what was that early upbringing, church life, religious life like for you?
Yeah, I am a pastor's kid, which explains a lot of my psychological deficits.
Yes,
and proclivities. And even worse, dude, I was a youth pastor and a worship pastor's kid.
Oh, there you go.
So I drank more Mountain Dew than I should have at a young age.
Yeah.
While also coming to know our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So
yeah.
No, I say that all tongue in cheek. It's actually a sweet time. My dad's time in ministry is actually incredible. And I think I was saved at a very, very young age. As long as I can remember, age 6, age 7. And I think a large part of my story is experiencing an incredible church community growing up and just a faithful kind of non-denominational Baptist church just doing their thing, non-denom, man. It's not all bad. People meme us pretty hard, but we've got problems. but so do Catholics. They got problems, like the Pope.
I was gonna say they just kind of half solved a problem at the point of this record yesterday. I guess they'd say it's a problem. The thing this is a little off topic, but what happens if they go in the room and they can't agree?
I don't know. I have so many questions.
I do too. Did you know
I pay a lot of money to put a recorder in there. What?
Did you know that they did this process, the whole get in a room, smoke out the tower thing?
That was new for me.
Yeah, I feel like they invented this year. I was telling a buddy, I said, because we've seen a new pope in our lifetime. Right, it was 12 years ago, and I don't remember this. I don't remember the media coverage and the smoke. I don't remember any of that, and I'm like, this is marketing somehow. They've rebranded, and I don't know. But
no, it made me wonder. Are they just really excited that Francis died, or are they just jacked about this new guy? Because I was like, why is MSN so jacked about this Pope process?
Yeah, they were hyped, dude. Everybody was. Well, and the thing that I think, and not to dive just neck deep into politics right out of the gate, but what I think is funny is how angry everybody was that they posted some AI generated Donald Trump Pope that somebody had made.
Hell yeah!
It was a joke, and everybody got all triggered by it, and then we ended up with an American Pope, and it's hey,
Dude,
40
chess for
perhaps.
Sure.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Trump, but I think he's playing some big cards over there, dude.
Oh,
he knew some guys with some red hats, I think.
Oh no.
Oh shoot.
That's out there somewhere, just the superimposed onto the little Cardinals hat or whatever.
Oh, you know it.
Oh,
you know it.
gosh.
Alex Jones is screaming somewhere. And he's probably right.
Yeah. That's the trouble is yep, all right, we'll watch it play out before our eyes.
No doubt.
Yeah. So saved at a young age.
Yep.
Were you? Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, my journey with the church was very, very sweet in my upbringing, but it wasn't until my senior year of high school where some of that took a weird slide, and one thing led to another. Church politics get ugly. Family get. My whole extended family was at this church, and some was on leadership in the board, and my dad got asked to resign. Long story short, so, and that as a pastor's kid, going through that in high school and then in college, I was super jaded towards the Christian church. I didn't abandon Christianity, I didn't deconstruct. Yeah. Although, how easy could that have been? But I went to Corban almost exclusively to have something positive happen in my dad's life at that time. It was a pretty dark time for us as a family. We were kind of ostracized, and it was weird. No one talked to us. The way that they announced it kind of made it, they insinuated that my dad was in immorality or sexual sin or something like that. They weren't very forthcoming, and so people just friends of 14 years, families of 14 years, 15 years just dropped off the face of the earth
really,
like nothing happened. So what that did for me was I became just very jaded, not towards Christianity at large, but church and church authority and men in authority in particular. I was a very bitter young man at Corban early on.
Yeah. That's tough, dude. I think a lot of times, especially, it's a tough line to play of like when there is, I think churches should be willing when it is just church politics stuff, to just say like, hey, we have differing opinions or we have different visions for whatever, and just lay that right on out there, rather than kind of making it seem like, and like it makes people's imaginations fill in the gap, and that's no good.
Well, instead of making it personal, right? I mean, maybe it was like I wasn't privy to those conversations, and I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I don't know if this is correct. Like maybe I'm a bad pastor, but it's kind of like choosing paint in your church, or like, if you're gonna get a business printer or not, and people like spiritualize that. And, you decide to paint, Volunteer Debbie's mural that's been there for 70,000 years, but you're the Antichrist, right? So, so we spiritualize everything. It's like, man, it actually would be nice if we could just be like, hey, it's actually not personal. Unfortunately, it involves you personally. But this is not a personal attack on your spirituality or your character or your theology.
Right.
So that's hard. That's hard for people.
Yeah, it is. It is tough. And I also I think it's interesting. You say you came into Corban this way. It's interesting because I feel like I also entered Corban with that. I didn't
know that.
Oh yeah, I came into Corban pretty angry.
Wow.
I had quit church actually at that point. Yeah, and that was
I
actually something.
Known.
Oh yeah, Dr. Anderson. He was one of the ones. It's like, well,
good man.
That's a thought. That's an idea of how you can proceed, or you can, you should try to go to church. And I did a few weeks of like, oh, okay, well, I'm in Bible school, and and then I finally just started church shopping in Salem. And but that's interesting. I had known a little bit of that, but I didn't, I will say this, Aaron, you did a good job of not, like allowing that, whatever, that jaded or whatever, I would have never known it.
Oh, wow. Well, praise the Lord.
Just early on, I never would have known that.
Most of the credit to that probably is due, to the Lord, of course. He's very kind. And then I think the Lord specifically through a man named Cyrus Retman. You remember Cyrus?
Yes, sir. Oh, dude. He's down here in Albany doing ministry down here where I'm at. So, yes. His kids actually go to the high school I work at.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Okay. Small world. I love it.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in a hot minute, but man, he was pivotal in my time at Corban. He caught me early on. It turns out he was in my dad's youth group like eons ago, back in the dark ages, pre-internet.
Yeah.
And he set his sights on me and was just supremely kind and tenacious, and plugged me in at Kaiser Community Church, just this old independent fundamentalist Baptist church, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not a soul under 60. That's not true, but like, it's mostly
Seems
true.
like it. Right. Yeah.
And that was exactly what I needed to be restored into the church, love for the church. And like, there's just nothing to hate. I wanted to hate people in leadership in the church. And it was just the gentlest, slowest, kindest congregation. And to hate anything in that church would have been just obviously evil in my heart. So that just quickly exposed a lot of sin and poor response in my heart. So
wow, yeah, dude, it's cool. It's cool to see like these congregations that I think sometimes like pop Christianity or like big whatever Christianity would look at these congregations and it's like, well, what do they serve? And I've actually asked this question a lot. Like down here in Albany, it seems like, we have no shortage of churches. And something that I've come to realize is like people actually move and I've found the church that I'm at, like a lot of people arrive there for like, they got burned and they land there and it's like, I see what we're doing, God. And, you know, and it's to see like these different congregations, sometimes those Kaiser community, you know, those are the ones where people healing, and that's cool. So I think so it's been so long that since we've at least seen each other in person, and multiple years since we've talked like at this length and format. Mm-hmm. You knew Jerry Crane, right?
Yeah, pretty well actually.
Okay.
Wait, the dad or the son?
Both. I mean, either. Yeah. Yes, and.
Okay. Yeah, both.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have you talked to Junior, like Jerry? I guess it's the third.
The third.
The younger Jerry.
Yes. Not in a hot minute. Like
really?
Probably not since I left.
I'm gonna put the bug in his ear to reach out to you because he's got a lot of cool stuff going on. He's actually like started this like ministry that's gaming related.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. And he does a podcast, and he's actually working on jumping on to Parable and Sharon. So,
no way. That's super encouraging. They've crossed my mind recently for, I have no idea why.
Yeah. He just had a kid.
I wonder what happened with them. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. He got married and he's got a kid, and, I'll put the bug in his ear and say, hey, you should hit up Aaron. It'd be
absolutely.
Cool, even if
him and his brother, I'm like, I wonder what happened to them.
Yeah, I think his brother's in Georgia now.
Wow.
Yeah, I had met his brother a handful of times. I didn't know him well, but funny guy. Like
he was a funny guy. I enjoyed him a lot.
He's just a goofy guy, but
Jude,
he's
right?
super cool. Yeah, Jude Crane. Yep.
Yeah,
dude, that's awesome. I don't know. I'm sitting here going, Kaiser community. The only other person has to know Aaron. You know, like Jerry is the only other person that I've ever had that's like,
that's crazy.
Cyrus and Jerry are the ones. So
we got some good stories, dude. That brings me back. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So you went to Corban I know that you got a ministry, but was that your intent in going there, was to do the ministry degree or the Bible program?
Yeah, good question. No. So my plan from the beginning, it changed rapidly, was my declared major at the beginning was business software programming.
Really?
Believe it or not. So this is how do I even say this?
I didn't even know that was a thing they offered.
Yeah, it quickly like fell apart. I don't know what happened. But like went away. It might have come back, but like Corban was trolling for a little bit, I think. But it was originally a major at one point that you could do. I don't think that I could have graduated with it based on the trajectory of that institution. But I remember, so my freshman year, like I'm coming in hot, you know, I'm pretty jaded, figuring out some things with Cyrus. I'm like all of a sudden finding myself teaching like junior high youth group in Sunday school, like visiting retirement homes with Cyrus. Like I have no idea how this happens, but here I am. And I'm dating Katelyn at the time. So she's at Whitworth. Yes. We're dating long distance. And I'm like, oh, dude, she's going to break up with me for sure. Like, because I'm an idiot. So
it's a tale as old as time.
Oh, my gosh. Why do any women marry any of us? I don't know.
Right?
It's all a charade, dude. If only she knew who I really was. Oh, golly. But so I'll tell a Katelyn story in a second, I guess. But my freshman year, that first semester, I think I went to a total of 3 microeconomics classes. Or is there macro? Whatever one. Macroeconomics. And I remember, and I did all the homework. I got an A in the class. But I think I went to 3 total classes. Yeah. The first or second day, maybe both of those. The midterm and the final. So 4 days maybe. And I remember I showed up for the final, because it was an in-person final. And Don Levitt had no idea who I was. So I walk in. He's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know how to explain this. This is gonna be hard." And then this is not politically correct, but one of the Jamaican soccer students walks in behind me, like literally seconds later, after he asked me that question, and he turns to him and he's like, "And who are you?" Because I think he'd been doing the same thing I've been doing.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh.
I just immediately sit down and try to hide behind another student and start taking the exam. and totally dodged it. But what I realized this time was, like, I have no interest in this crap. All right, so nothing against business majors, but I was like, because what I realized what I was finding myself doing in my free time was I was binging YouTube lectures, reading my brains out in theology. I was discipling and teaching in my local church already. Yeah. And it was kind of that reckoning of like, oh crap. Like the thing that I am avoiding, the very institution and occupation I'm most fearful of and jaded towards, is precisely where I can tell my heart is being dragged against my will in some sense, but not against my will in another. And I had to be honest about that. Yeah. So I switched my major after that, which leads to the Katelyn part of that story. So I go home. I grew up in Bellingham, Washington, and both our families were still there at the time. Okay. So Katelyn and I would see each other over breaks, and we came back for Christmas break, and I'm like, crap! Like I just made a decision essentially to switch majors and commit to 4 years at Corban. And woof. At least, right? Yeah, woof. Yeah. Get wrecked.
We all did. No.
We all did. It was a great time. Oh, dude. Some of the stories we can't even tell on this podcast, dude.
Yeah.
You know.
They live elsewhere. No.
But Katelyn and I watched a basketball game in our hometown, and afterwards I took her out to McDonald's because that's where friends meet friends. And then
that's right.
I sat her down and I was like, okay. Like I was totally prepared for her to break up with me. I was totally ready. I prayed about this. I'm like, we got this. And I said, so Katelyn, like, where do you see us in 4 or 5 years? And she's like, well, like probably married. And I was like, oh. I'm like, Yeah. And so I was like, oh. Like it's still, I don't know why it was so stuck in my head. I was just like, surely we're breaking up right now. And I just misread a ton of different stuff and was totally stuck in my own head. But she was like literally on the opposite side of things. Yeah. And this is how bad of communicators we were at the beginning, where like when I told her I'd switched my major to ministry, she's like, I thought that's what you were doing the whole time. I'm like, dang it. Like what? Yeah. How did this happen? Because my whole plan was to do a year of business software programming and then transfer to Eastern to be close to her at Whitworth. Oh. So there's all kinds of things lost in translation. Our marriage is better now. But at the time, God knows what we talked about, right? So
yeah. Well, it's probably better for it, like it's how God uses that stuff. That I didn't realize that you had planned on moving over to where she was going to school. That is quite a commitment change there.
It's at least what I told myself. Who knows if I really believe that in my heart of hearts. But once I switched majors, I was like, I'm not going to Eastern to get a pastor degree. Like that's suicide in a lot of levels. Golly.
Yeah. Wow. So were you guys, I don't know if it's the word you want to use for it or the right word, were you guys like high school sweethearts type things or?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy one. So Katelyn and I knew each other since we were 6, same town. Whoa. We lived like 2 minutes apart from each other.
That's crazy.
Her parents were youth leaders while my dad was in youth ministry, constantly babysitting together with each other. But Katelyn, she liked me since the first grade.
Whoa.
And it took, I'm an idiot. So it took me a while to come around. Yeah. We started dating our senior year.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's awesome, dude. That's crazy. Wow, that's super cool. And you so you finishing at Corban, did you go, I can't remember the timeline. Did you go straight back up to Washington to begin pastoring, or were you in the kind of Salem, we'll call it the metropolitan area?
Yeah, greater Salem, whatever.
Yeah, the lesser Salem nowadays, anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. Yikes. So I graduated with my bachelor's, and then I finished my MDiv through Corban as well.
Okay.
With an emphasis in biblical languages. God bless Alan Jones and Gary Derrickson, dude. Those guys are heroes.
Yeah.
And so we got married, and we stayed 1 year in Staten while I finished. Well, no, I was in an apartment in Salem, and then I did seminary, did all that. Katelyn taught for 1 year, and then Katelyn moved back to Spokane with me this time, and I got a part-time admin job at a church once I moved there, and I actually didn't enter pastoral ministry until pretty recently. So I was in church administration that entire stretch.
Wow. Okay.
Kind of interesting.
Huh. What is like, was it what were you doing as far as like church administration? Was it just kind of like planning and programming and that type stuff?
Yeah, the initial job I got was part-time, and it was facilitating and administrating a distance location seminary. So I would oversee all the IT side of that. I would proctor and everything, some level of marketing and events and pastor to student, whatever.
Wow.
And that quickly morphed into being the administrator for that, and then the college ministry. Mm-hmm. And then eventually that turned into administrating or being business operations manager at that church. And then a very brief stint, like 8 months, maybe 9 months, being the administrator-ish at that church.
Wow.
And then I bailed on that. But
yeah,
it was a good time.
Dude,
I learned a ton.
Yeah, you see all that early business days come into play, and all that that software, and
macroeconomics came in huge. No doubt.
That's fun, dude. Wow. And so how long have you were at this previous church, and then you've started this church plant? I know you said, how long have you been where you're at now?
Yeah, since end of October. So what is that, a little over 6 months maybe?
Yeah. Wow. That's
pretty fresh.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's cool.
Yeah. And then I was at Indian Trail Church, our sending church, for that was a couple of years, 2.5, 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a few years, because I remember I think that's where you were at the last time we chatted.
Yes, it was. I remember that.
Yeah, very cool. So with all of this stuff, like couple of changes, are there moments throughout that story where and I find a lot of times it lands on those moments of hurt, but not always, where you can see kind of like Jesus doing something and how he used something that happened 10 years ago, and here you are, it's playing out. Do you have any of those moments?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's actually a good way of saying it. And I would agree. It tends to be those hard moments, those moments of suffering or perceived hurt and wrong, where we tend to grow the most. I don't think that's by accident, Christ being our suffering servant. And that's essentially the kind of the pinnacle model for our sanctification. I don't think it's an accident. That's where we tend to articulate our own growth, is in our perception and experience of suffering,
Yeah.
For me, I think as I've experienced a bunch of different churches, maybe 5 or 6 over the last 10 years, for various reasons, what stood out on this side is, I think at various times in my immaturity, I was looking at the church with condescension, critic, and in a sinful way, like not like an honest, like, oh yeah, but like right. More often than not tainted with sin. I think what I really learned in a kind of interesting way this last go around was how much my frustration with the church said about me, not the other way around. And I think I've had to learn that lesson multiple times at multiple churches from different angles and in different roles. They've been all different roles and various capacities of authority. Praise God, because I was not ready for a church. And I knew that at one level. That's why I didn't enter pastoral ministry right away. I had this vivid moment where I think I was I started my last year of seminary, that year after I graduated, to wrap up. And I didn't know how to turn on the power for my apartment. Like, I thought that just happened. And it turns out like you have to actually call the power company and do that yourself. So I didn't know that. And it dawned on me after that. I was like, yeah, if I don't know how to turn on the power for my apartment, I probably shouldn't pastor anybody for a while.
Dude, yeah, for real.
So,
dude,
so the Lord's just been really kind to me. He spared me a lot of the arrogance and lack of wisdom, the kind of sophomoric, backwards nature of most young men, of which I was a principal figure, and and I got to grow under a lot of kind older men and really wise churches who graciously brought me along in my giftings and weaknesses to where I am today. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's That's what the church should be, I think what's interesting, doing youth ministry is sometimes like I think I don't want to say it's I'm stuck, but like reliving like my days in the youth group, in the youth ministry. And now, looking back at that and now staring at these kids who sometimes are acting full knucklehead on it, and it's like, okay, like here, a lot has happened between now and there to make us ready for where we are, because that was me, but it was probably 5 times worse. We were an unruly lot out in Montana. Yeah. That's super cool. And
that makes me think of a verse in Titus.
Yeah.
I've been preaching through Titus, and this one will come up in a couple weeks, where he says in chapter 3, for we were once foolish, disobedient, blah, 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 hateful, hating one another.
Yeah.
And then he also then switches gears and he says, but when the kindness of God, our Savior, or something, and it appeared, he saved us. And that's been really helpful. Just sharing your youth ministry example of like I remember that. I remember being a knucklehead, like reliving your days. But that's so true. Like we were once foolish. We were once darkened and deceived. And then instead of being like, I have this temptation of like, well, once someone shows some fruit, once someone shows some works, then I'll start showing it back, or then I'll start teaching them.
Right. Yes.
And Titus flips it, and he's like, no, like God appeared to you in his kindness and his instruction and his grace while, when you were deceived, when you were foolish. And then essentially he's arguing, and you're going to do the same. You're not going to wait for people's good works so that you can love them. You're going to love them like I loved you.
Yeah. Dude, that's super good reminder. Yeah, I think it's a good reminder. Dude, that hits me really, because I fall into that, especially even outside of youth ministry, just like if sometimes, man, I wish this person would just engage with what's going on, and then it's like, well, shoes on your foot, like go ahead, reach out, you can take that first step. That's a super good reminder. I have a couple questions, because I know I'm watching the time. I do want to ask, so I have a few things that are part of the interview, but I also want to try to weave them into this chaplaincy thing that you said you've been doing. And so, like, tell me a little bit about the chaplaincy thing and how you got involved with that and what it entails.
Yeah, dude. So my sister my sister's at my church in Spokane, and she's a hospice nurse.
Whoa.
And
okay.
While I was a pastoral resident at Indian Trail Church, before they ever had the church plant on the horizon, my residency was coming to an end. And so I was applying for anything and nothing. And one of the things I applied for was a full-time chaplaincy position at that place. Wow. And I almost got it, and I had 0 credentials, right? So there's very specific chaplaincy credentials and credits that people usually want, and especially in healthcare. And I almost got it with no credentials, and that was a blessing that I didn't get it. But then a part-time chaplain position came up later when we were planting, and with my salary and different things, I was like, I need more than that, but our church isn't at that place. So I needed some supplemental income, and for $32 an hour, I was like, yes, sir.
Wow.
I'll do a lot of things for $32 an hour. So... But applied for the part-time job and got it, and it's very, very flexible. It's weekdays only, and that's kind of the short version of that. But of how I got into it, my sister, blah blah blah. So
that's super cool. Interesting. Not that it's the same thing, because I know that there's medical chaplaincy, but like my dad being in the military, I remember he talked about the chaplains that he had at times in his life. So it's always interesting to me when it comes up. One of our teachers on Parable that's kind of his job, I think. Is
he military?
He's at a prison. I know that.
Oh yeah, yep.
yeah, he's doing like some prison ministry / chaplaincy to a lot of the inmates and guards and stuff. And yeah,
it's super tricky. You have to navigate some interesting ecumenical moments, like not just like intra faith, like the Christian camp, everything from like Catholics to like low church, whatever, non-denominational people. But you also have to navigate like, Orthodox Jews and New Age spiritualists, and it's interesting. Hospice is different. Like I don't have the same problems that a military chaplain would have, where I have to like cater to their events and their needs in the same way. I just am the liaison between them and their faith groups.
Right.
But other chaplains have I think a much more difficult thing to balance. That's very tricky. So props to them. Yeah,
that's interesting. It's it's the stuff you don't ever think about. It's like, oh yeah, you could have anybody stumble in here and need. Yeah. So what is something that you are learning in your faith or in scripture, or that God is teaching you at like this stage in your life? It can be related to pastoral or that chaplaincy, but what's something that you've been learning?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot of my brain these days. You've caught me at an interesting time. I think, probably not by accident. One of the things I've become pretty convicted of and am excited to continue to remedy is my lack of engagement with primary sources and with, for example, a lot of people's tendencies are, there's a lot of fear in this, but also there's some reality to it where like you don't have all the time in the world, right? So if I wanted to learn about like something spicy, like Black Lives Matter or something, it'd be really easy to, and in some ways it's not the end of the world if I just went to secondary sources and said, what does so-and-so say about Black Lives Matter? And then just like go on with my life. I think there's a place for that. But I'm at a place personally and pastorally where I'm really tired of taking other people's words for something, and just the lack of intellectual responsibility and integrity that would represent in the long term.
Yeah.
And so, and that's true not just for like political things, but like even just things like reading the church fathers.
Yeah.
Or reading Catholics on their own terms.
Yeah. Interesting.
Other things. Or like like the creation debate. Like, why am I listening to so and so comment on this group and this scholar, and I haven't even bothered to listen or read on their own terms? Like, I would be so upset if someone did that to me. So that's been a pretty, not recent, but like a very focused endeavor of mine now, where like before it was like a part of my intellectual journey and spiritual journey, and now it's becoming, I can tell, like a focus point of pastoral and intellectual honesty.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's interesting. And like the goal in the pastoral side, I just, and you can kind of correct me, is so that way, like when you are pastoring, it's like, hey, no, like this is not just me regurgitating some other idea. It's like I've struggled with this. I've kind of, gotten my boots wet, for lack of a better way of saying it, and just like I've grappled with this a bit, and being able to speak to that way. Is that kind of the thought with the pastoral side of it?
That'd be a huge part of it, and I think even broader as well would be the concern of our kind of factious and really like fundamentalist tendencies that are, I think, very sinful. Yeah. We're dividing over or disfellowshipping over things that are not worth dividing over.
Yeah,
and there are things we should, and there's things that, like, for example, like baptism. Like, if someone's like a bona fide Lutheran or Presbyterian or something, like, they shouldn't come to my church, and I love them. Like we'll do events together. I will do conferences with them, but like, you should not come to my church. Right. But then there are other issues that like should not divide. They should be tertiary. They should be third
Right.
tier. They should not also to disfellowship. And I think a lot of people listen to the loudest and the most enraged clickbait that they can, because that's what clicks, right? Is the most extreme reaction. And then they let their shepherding and their church engagement be tainted and factious along the most enraged and outrageous lines. I'm trying not to, I should like consciously try not to name names, but like
No,
I'm debating name dropping or not, like where guys will divide the body and divide the church at large on insane issues. I'll name drop one. I might get flamed for this, but like Ken Ham. Like where he draws a line in the sand is like, dude, if you don't believe in a young earth, like you don't even believe in inerrancy, you don't even believe the Bible, you're dangerous. And like I think that's so inflammatory and so crazy.
Well, and I think one of the dangers of that is then if you do kind of like what you're doing, and I would be in agreement on that. In fact, I was talking to someone, I think it was my son actually. He was asking me because, oh, Dad, a thing at school said millions of years. And I said, well, bud, it's a theory. It's
so did
based
Charles
on,
Spurgeon, so you can tell your son.
Yeah. And so it's just like, but I told him, I said, well, there are other views. Like this is what I believe and this is why I believe it. But there are other people who read the Bible who do believe something that is a little different than that. And they're Christians, but they, they, and he's like, okay. And he's 8 and you can see him like, well, why do we have to
Good
fight?
man.
Why do we have to spit about this? Yeah. And so all that to say is, but what happens, I think, Aaron, is, you take something like that. And even if I also land on a young earth creation, even if I land there, but I say, well, I don't know if we really need to go as far as to say that person doesn't believe the Bible if they don't land there. Me saying that, it's almost as if it's like, aha, I got you. And now you are like, they don't even hear the rest of the conversation. And
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is, I would argue, like fundamentalism, like, and not like the good kind where it's like, we believe in these fundamentals, like the 1940s kind of stuff, like, or whenever that was, 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
But like the bad kind of like, you've mistaken true fundamental doctrine for like dancing and playing cards. Like those aren't the same thing. Although super important in their time and day. Like don't get me wrong. Like in that time and day, like that was a big deal. So
which is still in my church's bylaws, by the way.
Let's go.
And I break them once a quarter during game night.
I'm proud of you.
Yep. So
that's hilarious.
and the elders join in. It's it's like, why don't we change this? I don't know.
But back in the day, like that probably made sense, right? Right or wrong, it probably made sense. Like,
well, I think it was because my understanding is those things were often coming out of like the Prohibition era. They were often inseparable from like backdoor drinking and nightclub partying, because they had to do it under like. And so it's like, oh, wait, you're playing dice? Like what? And it necessitated to be involved with that. I would say, dude, I'm going to get nerdy. I would say the same is true for Dungeons and Dragons. Like there was a stigma related to Dungeons and Dragons that is 30 years old.
And it wasn't for nothing at the time, right? But it's not absolutely the case now.
Yeah. And it's like, you can,
I would argue.
I would argue that too. There's still some very dark things in it, but it's like, just scrap it. Like literally the whole point of this game is you can scrap what you want and keep what you don't, it's like.
And then do you see like the kinds of movies and shows or books that those people are reading and you're like, okay, isn't that like worse? Like,
isn't this 5 times worse? Like,
but at the same time, it wouldn't violate their conscience, but it's different when then they take that personal conviction and they burden the conscience of the church at large with their however consistent their belief is on that issue. That's really burdened me as a pastor now. I have a largely pretty conservative constituent, right? Like I'm a Reformed Baptist, like we're pretty conservative people. Yeah. But I've become increasingly burdened of like, how much of my own work have I actually done? And how much more free could our Christian consciences be if we divided over the things that should be divided over instead of all this tertiary doctrine that should be discussed, debated, fought over, but not divided over.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a good reminder. Yeah, that's super good. Have there been scriptures throughout your life or even recently that have been more or less formative to you? Like, is there scripture that stands out to you? Or do you have a favorite Bible verse? That's
No doubt.
He just begins quoting all of the longest chapter of anything.
I just send it. I just quote Jude, like by memory. Yeah.
Oh, Jude's a character.
Jude is a character, man. The first verse I ever remember memorizing consciously, other than like Jesus wept,
Yeah, that one's easy to check off.
No doubt. Was I always mess up my Timothy's on this one, but I think it's it's embarrassing. Either 1 Timothy or 2 Timothy 1:16 or something, where it's guard the good deposit that was entrusted to you, guard it with the hope of the Holy Spirit who lives in us. Golly, I cannot remember which Timothy that is. You have to Google. Fact check me.
Yeah.
Fact check me.
2 Timothy.
Okay.
Looks like 1:14. Yeah,
I am not even correct. All right.
Hey, but just remember,
Ballpark,
this is why I tell, like, all those numbers, chapters, and verses and stuff wasn't in there in the beginning, so you're just fine,
Yeah, that's true. That made my conscience feel better. I needed that.
Yeah. Dude, that's something that, like, we do Awana, and you have the kids that are like,
oh yeah,
and I get kids that get there's a couple, they get hung up on the passage. They're like, is it chapter 4? And I'm like, how about you just say the verse, and then we'll, like, this is actually not the part that I care too deeply about. Like,
yes.
Rarely
That's so
are
funny.
I don't even, like, I'm a byproduct of Awana myself. I rarely am sitting there going, well, I'm going to go look it up. So the whole point of memorizing it is that you maybe don't have to go look it up.
Touche.
Anyway.
Touche.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with that. That's straight wisdom right there.
But that's a good one, dude. Guard the good deposit that was entrusted to you.
And the reason why that one sticks with me, especially as a pastor, but also as a Christian, is like that's an active role. That's even a priestly role of the believer. And in this case, of course, Timothy, right? And one of the reasons why I'm able to go about my intellectual, academic, and theological life with a lot of confidence is that the Holy Spirit has promises for us, that he'll grow us in truth and knowledge. Yeah. And then that we have a responsibility to guard and keep that deposit. So
right.
It allows me to kind of, I don't know if fearlessly is the right word, but boldly guard the deposit God's given us. So that's encouraged me a lot in my walk and my walk as a pastor. And then another huge one is Psalm 36:9, where it says, is it with you is the fountain of life? I butchered that phrase. I think that's right. And then in your light, we see light.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're just going to roll with it. There's no sense in, like, let it be. You know what I'm saying? We don't need Joe Rogan's Jesse over here. Like, oh, pull it up. That's one of those things where, the Bible reading plan that I am doing this year, it's out of order. I don't know why. I think it's chronological. It's one of those.
Oh, yeah.
But so it's like dripping in these little, like, flavors of Psalm as we go. And man, it's nice because, like, usually when you get to Psalms in one of those plans, it's like you're just reading Psalms for a slog. Yeah, and this is nice because jump over and read about what David's doing and who he's killing, and then you're like, hey, let's go over here and read some nice Psalms that are very penitent in nature. So
that's exactly how it goes. That's so good.
Yeah,
that's good biblical theology right there. Huh?
Alan Jones would be psyched. No.
He's proud. I can hear it right now. He's so proud. Does he still have a beard?
Dude, I have no idea. I have not seen him. Yeah. Alan Jones, if you hear this, we need pictures. No.
No doubt.
Headshots.
Headshots
so Aaron,
only.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm gonna get fired.
No. Video games. So Aaron, this is kind of the cliche super cliche job interview question.
Oh.
But like, where do you see, or where do you feel, however, whatever dispensation you're leaning towards in the moment on that, where do you perceive God leading you in the future? Whether that, or maybe you are there and it's like, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. I think one thing. No, I'll say two things. Two things I'm learning about myself is, one, I can actually preach, and that's gonna sound really stupid. So, like when I started this church plant, I'd never preached more than 2 sermons in a row, and I'd preached only a handful of times before then. And so I went into this church plant like pretty anxious and concerned, like with the kind of the reality of, do I have what it takes to minister week in, week out, and preach week in, without, like, do I even have enough in the tank? Like, I don't know.
Right.
And what I'm realizing is, not only do I have a lot in the tank, praise the Lord, but I got more, and I'm excited. So, and I'm figuring out how to wield that responsibly and with increased skill and feedback from church members, elders, and other pastors in Spokane and stuff. And the reason I say all that way is I truly didn't know if this was going to be a long-term gig for me. Like, I didn't know if being a teaching pastor was the long play. I always styled myself as a counseling pastor, associate pastor, and was super content, eager even to go that route. But the Lord has revealed a different set of skills and opportunity. And I think the next 5 years or so and into 10 will be me growing increasingly in that capacity and with increased skill and opportunity. I'm excited to see where that goes.
That's super cool.
The other angle I'm seeing is a propensity and energy for networking in Spokane and broader, but especially Spokane, with not just like-minded churches like other Baptist, Reformed Baptist-ish churches, but even like Presbyterians, Lutherans, and guys like that, and collaborating with them. And it's been really fun to dip my toes in some of that. I've had some really interesting, I don't know if I'll have time for some of these stories, but like working with just gospel believing, but different denomination ministers and groups. Yeah. That's kind of starting to become a passion of mine, of like coming back to like creedal and confessional Christianity and rallying around a lot more. It kind of comes back to that endeavor not to divide over tertiary doctrine. Mm-hmm. And positively, I'm realizing I'm a lot more excited to rally around primary doctrine. Yeah. Not that we're ever going to be members of the same church or even preach in each other's churches. Like some of these guys I wouldn't even take communion with because I would say they haven't been baptized, right? Like that's real. Yeah. And yet I love them. I consider them saved and would minister in this city with them. And I'm excited to see what role I might play in 5 to 10 years with the energy and vision I have for that, which is still developing, but I can tell I have it in my head. Like I have a desire for that at this time.
That's super cool. Interesting. Yeah. I think it's something that's exciting. Something that it stood out a little bit earlier and I was going to let it, but then it's kind of back, is that idea that, I think there's people who would hear you, when you say, well, they shouldn't come to my church. That is, but then, and then they hear you say like, I love them. They're saved. I think there's a group of people that would hear that and they would stop at one or the other and they'd say like, these two things can't be held in congruity. And I think that much of, especially when Paul's writing to these early churches, I think much of the attitude that he is trying to capture and like give to them as churches is caught up in what you have said, is like, hey, there's going to be significant agreement, if anything, because our backgrounds and our culture, for lack of a better way of saying it, is significantly different. But here's what we can have unity on, and here's what we can be, it's like you said, finding the commonality and the things that we can agree on, rather than just letting these tertiary issues be what breaks that, common, shared belief.
Right.
That's a good reminder, and it's encouraging. Yeah, especially like Jesse and I with Pickled, we've been doing a lot of work in denominations. And you're gonna do what I did, but we've just finished exploring LDS, which Jesse and I are like, it's not a denomination. Don't worry. It was a little. Jesse and I, he and I both had some run-ins, and we're like, we need to sit down and talk about this. And one of the things, like, we had also talked about, I can't remember what it was, but like we shared quite a bit in the first denomination we talked about, and then we arrived at Mormonism. It's like, we do not believe in the gospel that they don't even talk about the gospel hardly at all.
Right. Even though they use the language, right?
Yeah. They use some language, all right. They got some 4-letter word. No. Yeah. That's super cool. That'll be exciting to continue to hear like what God does with those things. Cause
yeah, man.
That I'm going to have, do y'all have like your sermons and stuff on the interwebs?
We do. We have it in Apple Podcasts and also on our website.
Bet. I'll explore that when we're done.
Dude, binge them.
Oh, absolutely.
You can suffer. Oh, so you'll laugh at this, dude. Being at a small church, so
yeah.
I think it's changing every week, but I think 50% of my sermons on our website and our Apple Podcast, I had to re-preach to an empty sanctuary. Because there's some goof with the sound guy or the soundboard.
Oh, really?
It's just comical, dude. So, like, I kid you. So, this is also interesting. If you listen, I'll be curious if you can tell, but when I preach, I'm preaching from a word-for-word manuscript.
Oh,
every time.
Really? Okay.
Yep. And what that means was when the recording got dropped or someone made a mistake, I was like, well, no problem. So I'd preach to just a naked auditorium. But you can tell on some of those, like,
the energy's different.
And sometimes, like, I was preaching at the end of a work day, so I have nothing in the tank. Like, I'm just reading a manuscript, right? So, but I'd be curious as you listen. You could be like, Aaron's a little off today, and it might actually be the case that Aaron's just reading his manuscript because they forgot to record it, and I'm tired and angry that I have to do this again.
Interesting, yeah, dude. That's something. Oh man, you're. So something that Jesse and I have been trying to work on is, so like with this talking into the internet thing, how when we're recording a lesson for it to not seem like what you just said, where we're like, reading the thing off.
It's a skill.
And I've been trying to like close all of the recording tabs and everything and just have like something open. And not reading that, but like looking at it while I'm doing it, and it, I don't know if it helps. It helps my brain, but there is something different about recording. I had to do that one time. I preached at a church on the farm that our church did, and our tech sound guy, he goes, "Well, got some bad news for you. Forgot to hit record on the Audacity, so." We can either scrap it or you can re-record it. And I was like, well, it's part 7 of 12. So I'm of the Sermon on the Mount. So I'm going to go back and just re-record. And
that's just, tragic, though.
You're trying to give a sermon in your office, like,
you feel like a dingus, dude. Like you're so
absolutely.
Lost. Like I think, like in a very positive sense, a sermon is a performance, man. Like. Like you're feeding the people alive, and like you're part of that moment in the spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not that he can't work online either, but like something's totally lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people in the room does a lot.
Absolutely.
I think that was the biggest, like COVID.
Oh man.
Oh, dude, here's a hot take for you. Online worship, I'm against it. I'm hard against it.
That'll preach. Yep.
Yep. Like not the gathering, and like I know there's people that are shut in and that's how they access it, but
that's different, right?
Yeah.
As a normative Christian exercise, like you're like,
yes,
what?
I almost am like, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna get some flack if my worship and media folks listen to this from our church, but I'm almost of the opinion that live streaming is actually less helpful sometimes.
Dude, you're not alone, man. I'd be in the same boat. And that's why we don't put any video or live stream up. But I appreciate the audio for like exactly like you say, shut-ins or visitors, like as a hospitality piece. If they're like, who are these people? What do they believe? It's like, well, here's some sermons, you know?
Yeah. We're still doing all of that, and then sometimes I'm going, This is interesting.
It's a huge use of resources, money, volunteers, right? Like,
yep.
It's an excuse essentially for disobedience and abandoning the gathering. It's like, oh man.
Yeah. Yep. It's the things that, I try to make those adjustments where I can while still, finding myself being, just kind of submitting to the authority that I have. It's like, all right,
Mm-hmm. No, that's real, man. Because no church is, I think it's well said. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Aaron, do you have, just as kind of a parting word, do you have any, whether it be spiritual advice or biblical advice, or what would you tell, I'm going to say younger people, because the primary audience I think that's finding podcasts is that 18 to 30-ish. What would you tell that, if someone found this and they're like, testimony, what's this? I want to hear more. What would you say to them? Like, what would be your spiritual advice, or like, what would you would tell them?
Let me be sure I'm appreciating what you're saying precisely. So, like, would it be off of my story specifically, or?
Yeah. Out of your, if you were to give them something that you've learned from your story that God has taught you, like, this is what I want you to take away from it.
Yeah. I think a theme in my life thus far has been a certain level of personal and intellectual angst in the church. And one of the things that was really freeing for me was the creator-creation distinction, and that I'm not God, and God is God. And what that meant for me in my journey, I was very anxious in college, very anxious in seminary. I still am in some ways. That, like, I don't know the answers, or like, or there are things that still trouble me. There are still anxieties and doubts that haunt me, that keep me up at night, that keep me from, or that keep me still buying way too many books on Amazon. It's a great time, but also some of that's like a straight up anxiety, a straight up fear. And one thing I had to learn, and I'm continuing to learn to probably my entire life, is the freedom that we have as creatures, that we are to grow in truth and knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. But the angst and anxiety I feel is often inappropriate. And it's that anxiety that I need to stop growing, and I need to arrive in my knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. And so that verse at the end of Second Peter. First or Second Peter. Oh, dang, I always mess these up. But
you always pick a 1 and a 2, you know what I'm saying?
I know, I got to stop doing that. Paul should have slapped them together, man. But or Peter, whoever.
Yeah.
But the call is to grow. And I think that gave me a ton of like emotional and spiritual freedom to not relax, that's not the right word, but to recognize growth is an acceptable mode as a Christian. And arrival's not the expectation until the Lord comes.
Right.
But I had to figure that out. I had to wrestle with that, and it's not comfortable to be in between the ages. This age, this world, and the world to come. But it's a freeing thought to then be comforted with the fact that I'm a creature and not the creator, and my call is to grow, not arrive. So,
yeah, absolutely, that's good. That's a good reminder. Aaron, what was the name of your church again? I want to. I'll put links and stuff down below. People can check out you and your preaching and hear what God's doing up there.
Yeah, man. Princeton Avenue Church.
Princeton Avenue Church.
Super long domain as a result. PrincetonAvenueChurch.com. So,
hey, you got it though.
We did.
Shoot,
which actually is kind of crazy because there's not a few Princeton Avenue Church.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, there's got to be tons of Princeton Avenue, and the statistics of there being churches built on them. I'm sitting here going, man, like Jesse had to. There was about an online battle for parableministries.com. Like, there was somebody doing some nefarious. Oh yeah, there was a guy up to some no good. That was trying to. He was trying to
shark your domain.
Yeah, so we waited him out. We got it.
Good man. Yeah, because
it's
he's
like,
gonna pay like $10 a month just to like troll you guys. Like,
yeah. So he's like, well, we'll just wait him out, and
yeah.
.org works just fine while we wait.
Oh, true. Yeah, good for you guys. Yep.
Yeah. So, but no, I'll be putting that down below, and go listen to Aaron preach. If it's anything similar to what I have heard from you both on this show, and back in the day in preaching class, man. and
dude, that's right.
I'm excited to go listen myself. So
oh my gosh, and I don't know if you knew this. So public speaking scares the beans out of me. It's still less now, but like it really did.
Yeah.
And like I remember I had to give my testimony before we went on a youth trip when I was like a senior in high school or something, junior, senior.
Yeah.
And I went up there and I just blacked out. Like I got like 30 seconds in and I just stood there for like another minute in silence. Yeah. And I was like, surely the words will come. They did not. And I just sat back down. But like that like summarizes my propensity for public speech until I graduated seminary. Like it freaked me out. So
yeah.
So I'll say there's hope for you guys. There's hope.
Do you still have that? Like, do you still have that fear, or is it is it gone, or have you just learned how to deal with it?
That's totally gone. That's crazy. So
really,
I still have a little twinge sometimes when I go up to preach, but especially manuscripting, it's a different animal. But I figured a lot of things out in my heart and head. And it's amazing how much of that was psychological. For example, when I was a pastoral resident, I had a really hard time speaking not nervously. If you listen to some of my earlier sermons, you'd be like, the heck is that guy doing? Is he having an aneurysm? Like, what's going on? And what it was like, it was mostly psychological. Like my sermon was there. It was all manuscripted. But like, it was just this deep feeling of like, this isn't my church. I'm not their elder. I'm not their pastor. They didn't sign up for this. Do I really have what it takes? And like, those things totally hindered my ability to perform as a pastor. Or as an aspiring pastor. I wasn't a pastor at the time. And I can tell, like, once I got a lot of those reps and made the switch to having my own church and preaching, it was like something clicked in my brain where I was like, this is it. Like, this is what these people signed up for. It kind of gave me the confidence and the clarity, plus other things. But that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because you always, you never know. Sometimes people are just like, public speaking ain't it, and they've just learned coping strategies and stuff to push past it. Interesting. Well, cool, Aaron. Well, thank you for doing this and for sharing your story and your what you've been learning and what God's doing. I'm excited to. It's fun because I get to edit. I get to listen to it twice because I edit these, and then to hear it again. And so these are always ones that I enjoy listening back to hear people sharing what they've been going through. So, sweet.
Yeah, man, thanks for the time, and I'd love to hear more what's going on. But we'll do it another time. We'll do it off script.
Yeah,
so I'd love to hear more about what's going on in your world, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit end record. I'll tell people goodbye. Hey, thank you all for being here. Yeah, like I said, if you want to check out more of Aaron's teaching and preaching, Princeton Avenue Church, the link will be down below, and it sounds like they have podcasts and stuff for you to go check out as well. So go check those out. Thanks for being here, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Pickled Parables. If you enjoyed this message, please rate us, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you're interested in more things like this, check out our secondary podcast called My Dusty Bible. To stay up to date with all things Parable, follow us on Instagram at parable_ministries and visit our website at parableministries.com. Parable is a volunteer organization, and we would deeply appreciate your prayers. Thank you for joining us today. We'll catch you later.